What is going on, guys? Dave from Wake Up It's Football alongside of Ezra from Idiot Ezra, not Idiot Sports Talk, Idiot Ezra. And it is now the divisional round of the playoffs. We've taken a couple weeks off. Holidays, family, sick, ill, coughing, sneezing. We're all over that. Now it's time for the playoffs, divisional round. We got 8 teams left. And these games, Saturday and Sunday are going to be awesome. Awesome to watch. A lot of other news going around in the NFL as well, so we're going to dive into all of that. But we got to get Ezra in here. Ezra, how's it going, man? Ezra, I think you're on mute. I think you muted yourself.
Oh my God! Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And I was thanking everyone. Maybe I was just thanking myself there, but no, I want to thank everyone that. While we took this little break from the Red Zone Blitz, not that we took a break, but, holidays and like you said, winter taking over and our bodies and sickness. And I did a couple solo shows. And last week I debuted a call feature. I want to give a huge thanks to everyone that came by and to you, David, for, sharing the link and sharing the channel. And, I'm happy everybody came by. I had a blast with the call feature calling me and talking football, and it was a great time. So I want to thank everyone for that, and I hope everyone had a happy New Year and happy holidays.
Well, there's a lot going on right now. Too many things going on in the NFL that we got to dive into. We've missed out the whole the hype of who's going to make the playoffs and who's not, because we already know who's in. We missed the whole wild card weekend. 4 teams have been eliminated. We saw the Vikings and the Bengals lose in ways that is sort of sickening. If you were a fan of those teams, you really you feel sick to your stomach. In Blair Walsh missing that field goal, the Bengals being undisciplined in the last couple of minutes of that game and allowing the Steelers to come back and kick that field goal to win the game. And then you had the Packers dominate the Redskins, and you had who else was it? Who was the 4th team?
I won't say the Packers in the second half dominated the Redskins. The Redskins did trip over themselves in the
first quarter.
The Redskins tripped over themselves too many times in that game. They left 5 points on the field in that first half. Let's not forget that. Deshaun Jackson, skipping out of bounds like he was playing hopscotch, and then a miss extra point. You don't give Aaron Rodgers a second chance like that. You just don't. You just don't leave points on the field. I know the Packers' offense have been, a mess as of late, but you just can't leave points on the field, especially in the playoffs. But you're right. The Packers came in the second half, and I know you must feel confident, after watching this last 7-8 weeks of the debacle of that offense, and they just come alive against the Redskins, who don't have a slouch defense now. They have a solid defense over there, so it must have felt good to watch that.
Well, you got King Lam over there saying the Packers are going to beat the Cardinals, and that's his bold prediction. But I'll tell you what about this Packers team. It's not going to be the same game that we saw a couple weeks ago when they went into Arizona and lost 38-8. I don't see it happening. I see this a more of a competitive game. I feel like the Packers have a little momentum here with this Redskins win. And all season long, when they've lost, it took them 3 quarters to get into a game, and by the 4th quarter, it was just out of reach. When they lost to the Bears, Vikings, and Lions, 3 of their 6 losses, and then the Panthers, 4 of their 6 losses this year were, you can almost say on the last play of the game. 4th down, they're in the red zone, they need a touchdown to win, and they couldn't do it. So there were games there that they could have won, but didn't. But it took them 3 quarters to even gain any kind of traction on the offensive side of the ball. And then once they did, they got back into the game, but weren't able to win it. So in this Redskins game, I noticed it only took them 1 quarter to do that. They were down 11-0. They didn't hang their heads low. They went to work. Second quarter, going into halftime, they had the lead, and then that was that. They just.
Hey, I don't want to, smack down your good graces and everything, but We obviously know the Cardinals are on a different level than the Redskins, and the Redskins, I stated this in the last video on Idiot Sports Talk / Idiot Ezra, the Redskins beat 0 winning teams this season. 0. But you were facing a hot quarterback in Kirk Cousins, who I thought played really well in the first half, etc. But another thing is, Andrew Kim, he wrote in a FanDuel comment box, hiring a few minutes ago was announced. The Giants hire Ben McAdoo, and then we'll get into Hugh Jackson also. And Jake has got to come at my neck. Ezra wished the Jets were in the playoffs. Yeah, I wish. I wish they won Week 17. We had our opportunity and we let it down. I don't have to wish anything. We had our opportunity and we let it go.
I'll tell you what I wish. I've seen some of these names, and I haven't seen these names in a while. There's a lot of guys in the chat box right now. I mean, it's a variety, man. We got Michael Bolden, Super Hippo.
18 Lockhart.
18 Lockhart, we haven't seen in a while. Big John, Churro Jr., Justin Villarreal, Jake Kubik, Andrew Kim, Petrie 916, King Llama, Alfred Del Mundo. I mean, hey, this is a variety. I like it.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Like you said, we got the two coaches. We got the Rams going back to Cali. They're going back to Los Angeles. The Chargers are in talks to join them, and if they don't want to join them, then the Raiders have an opportunity to join them. And if not, these guys get $100 million to build a stadium currently at their home state. It's just a whole lot of stuff going on. We need to get into it, David. What is first thing you want to get into? Head coaches or this LA situation?
News. I think this is breaking news. Rex Ryan hires Ed Reed to be their defensive assistant DB coach. The Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, well, yay. He hired his twin brother a couple days ago, too.
Hey, guess who's GM in the Bills in the GM League this year? This guy.
I got my Dynasty League coming up, so I really don't care about that right now, right?
But
I lost in a national championship in my Dynasty League.
We should do playoffs first, and then I really want to get into the Rams. But we got 4 matchups this week. I don't know where to start. You got Packers, Cardinals.
I got Dylan.
Huh?
I guess I'm sorry. Am I old? Does anyone know Dave Chappelle? You don't know Dave Chappelle? Dylan. You don't know that skit, Dylan?
I must have missed that one.
Okay, that was I hope that didn't go over everybody's head. I hope some people got that joke. Anyway, yes. But before we get into the playoffs, I want to talk the Seahawks. Tell me they're not the luckiest team in the NFL, man.
People feel like they are.
Besides the field goal, you got the Falcons botching a 6-0 start to start the season and let the Falcons come back and take that wild card from them. Man, the Seahawks. And Walsh is not a bum. He's not trash when you think about kickers. He's a solid kicker. Matter of fact, he was in my Dynasty League, and he had some pretty big games for me. And wide left. I'm not gonna slam on him too much. It happens. It shouldn't happen in that moment and that close of range. He's definitely feeling the effects of it, and he deserves some bashing for it. But it should never got to that point, right? It should never get to that point that you're relying on your kicker.
They let that game stay within reach, and that was their problem. So putting the blame on Blair Walsh for missing a 27-yard kick, you can partly put the blame on him, but you can't put the entire blame on him.
It's actually that kick was closer than an extra point.
Right, and he had made, I think, 3 field goals prior to that one.
Yeah, so he was the reason why they were in the game.
Right. So you keep the game within reach against a team like the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, we saw what they did to the Packers last year in the NFC Championship game. People high-fiving on the sideline, 3 minutes away from the Super Bowl, and everything goes wrong for the Green Bay Packers. And guess who's representing the NFC against the New England Patriots? So, I mean, it's never over when you're playing the Seahawks until it's over. And we saw that clearly happen against the Vikings. A lot of Vikings fans.
Is it over versus the Vikings?
So
I mean, is it over versus the Panthers? Is it over for the Seahawks versus the Panthers this week?
The Panthers beat Seattle in Seattle this last year, and I think that was a game that opened up a lot of people's eyes when you became, when you wanted to ask yourself how legitimate at that point in the season, how legitimate are the Carolina Panthers? Oh, well, let's see how legitimate they are when they go into Seattle, because they're probably going to lose, and they didn't. People are like, all right, well, I think, we have a really good NFC team here. To have someone go into Seattle and win is not easy. So they're playing the Seahawks now at their home stadium. And I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for the Panthers. But I think they have a good shot at winning. My question to you then is, because we talked about this, however, almost a month ago now, are you concerned about this rust that you were, so hyped up about, a little while ago, that the Panthers might come out soft and the Seahawks are just going to take it to them and win this game?
Well, they played week 16 tooth and nail with the Falcons. Week 17, they took it a little easy. So what is it? 2 weeks now. They really haven't played a full game. And what's lucky for the Panthers is Marshawn Lynch, it looks like he won't be playing again this weekend. And I feel like the Panthers' rush defense has some gaps in it, some holes in it. And I felt like with Lynch, the Seahawks could exploit that a little bit more. And time of possession, give Russell Wilson more time in the pocket, open up lanes, etc. With him out, I feel like the Panthers and their rush won't be. Maybe you just got to control the first quarter. The first quarter, just do not let the Seahawks come out of nowhere and score 14-0 or score 2 touchdowns on you. Just keep that confidence in first quarter and get the blood rushing.
The Seahawks have been. It's hard to. It's hard to really get a good touch on the Seahawks, because you'll see them dominate the Cardinals the way they did in Week 17, and then they only put up 10 points against the Vikings. Granted, I don't know if the cold or the temperature or the weather had anything to do with it in Minnesota. If everyone was a little bit more sluggish. But there's been games where they were up and down. I think they lost to the Rams in Week 16. The Seahawks did.
Yes.
So
Week 17, I believe.
No, they beat the Cardinals in Week 17.
Oh, okay. Week 16 then.
So, you got to up and down and up and down. It's like, well, where's your identity? I mean, do the Seahawks truly know their identity? Yes, they are a dangerous team. Yes, they are in the playoffs. But,
But the Rams are used to, putting the spanking on the Seahawks. And besides that blemish, aren't they on they won the last 8 out of 9 games, something among those lines. They're still feeling good, and they must be feeling very lucky after that botch field goal. The Seahawks, what makes them dangerous right now for me is they're playing with house money. They're not supposed to be there. Am I right? They're not supposed to be here this weekend. They're playing with house money. They're going to play free. I don't think they're going to have, they have all this experience, playoff experience, Super Bowl experience, and they're playing with house money. And I think that's what makes them dangerous.
And I mean, 18 Lockhart just brought this up in the comments. We have to also see what happens with Marshawn Lynch. I think that's a big X factor in this game because, you have Lynch in there. The probability of the Seahawks winning obviously goes up, but he opens up that offense a lot more than whoever else they're going to have at running back. Doug Baldwin becomes more dangerous. Jimmy Graham is Jimmy Graham on the field?
No, he's out for the year.
That's right. That's what I thought. Well, whoever their receiving weapons are become more dangerous when Marshawn Lynch is on the field.
I just don't know if those 3-step drops is going to work against the Panthers, secondary and those linebackers, because those three-step drops helps against against your weak line. You get the ball out faster. What's really going to rely on once again is Wilson's legs. Can he create time and space for his wide receivers and the Seahawks offense? And obviously he's done it plenty of times, but can he sustain it for, multiple and 3 quarters plus against this, what could be a stifling defense, which has been, has its cracks the last couple weeks. The Panthers defense has not been up to par the last, I'll say, 4 weeks.
I really like their front seven though for the Carolina Panthers, and that's where the defense starts, front seven up front. So if golly, how did I forget his name? Kawan Short can penetrate up the middle. If Star Lotulelei can penetrate up the middle, if you got guys rushing off the edge like Coney Ely, Jared Allen, you got Kuechly there at inside linebacker. If they can pressure Russell in that first quarter, really make them uneasy, kind of set that tempo out right away that, we're going to bully you all game long. If that's the initial, feel that I get when I watch that game, the Panthers are going to control this game defensively, then I'm going to pick the Panthers at that first quarter point. I'm going to go with the Panthers just because based off of this. Once they get going, they're done. They're dangerous. They're lethal, man. They'll eat you up alive. So it's going to come down to that Seahawks offensive line, which at times has been suspect throughout this season.
The thing is about the Seahawks defense is they have the speed and to really contain Cam Newton at times. So I think Cam Newton's going to have to do a lot of his damage with his passing, in which he's proven he can do that. He's excelled at that the last 2 years, and he's taken a huge step this year with his arm. And we're forgetting about, they have a big, powerful running game with himself, obviously, Cam Newton, and Jonathan Stewart. I'm going to go with the Panthers here because, like I said, the Seahawks are missing Lynch, and I just feel like the Panthers, I won't say they're on a mission, but they have this confidence and they have this chip on their shoulder, and you can see it on the field. And in a lot of ways, too, the Panthers are playing with house money because even today I was watching ESPN. Bill Polian has them the 3rd best ranked team in the playoffs, and Seattle number 1. So in a lot of people's minds, the Panthers are still pretenders. And they just have that chip on their shoulder, so I'm going to go with the Panthers to finally, stop this lucky reign of the Seahawks of this season.
I'm probably going to go with Carolina too. They figured out that blueprint on how to beat them in Seattle earlier this year. If they can hold true to that at home, I can see them doing it again. So for this game, I'm going to take Carolina to head to the NFC Championship game to face somebody. I don't know who yet. Should we break down the second NFC one?
Well, we got your Panthers and your Packers versus the Cardinals. Man, what should be an offensive explosion. I know the Packers offense came alive last week versus the Redskins, but then something keeps telling me it's the Redskins. You're facing a different animal here. You're facing an offensive powerhouse. You're facing a quarterback that's on fire, and you're facing a pass rush against an offensive line that hasn't done much in the last, 8 weeks. They've looked better last week, but it just sounds, oh man, the confidence in the Packers is not oozing right now. It's just not there. But you have the best quarterback in football in Aaron Rodgers, and that gives you hope. Right there alone. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers, that's why I went with this past weekend. It's Aaron Rodgers. It gives you hope. Once again, you got another hope. I feel like that's a theme versus the Cardinals, is that running game. I know Eddie Lacy had a big run versus the Redskins, but can we see some consistency out of this running game? I know that's been a question mark all year long with the Packers, but you really need to do it against the Cardinals. Time of possession. You want to keep that offense off the field. And can that secondary of the Packers, hold John Brown? Can your Packers do it?
I'm going to say yes, they can do it. But I think the Cardinals right now.
Such a believer.
I think the Cardinals right now are probably the best team in the playoffs. So the Packers are going up against, I think, Goliath right now. And they're going to have to figure out how to take them down. But there's been some parallels with this season and the 2010 season when they won the Super Bowl. In that they finished both seasons at 10-6. They were both the wild card teams. Most likely, they're going to probably play all 3 games on the road. If they face Seattle, they'll play them at home in the NFC Championship game. But in 2010, they played all 3 games on the road.
Less than stellar offensive line. Also,
a lot of injuries in 2010. But then in that 2010 season, they played the Falcons in the divisional round. That game was indoors, and Aaron Rodgers, I think that was probably his best game he's ever played. I think they won that game by a score of something like 45-20. It's on the wall right here. It's 48-21, right? This game going up against another, at the time, the Falcons too as well. They were a powerhouse that season. Spread the field vertically. They were a big time offense. Same thing can apply to the Cardinals here. Indoors, big time offense. Team looks fantastic, but here come the Green Bay Packers. So, man, I'm taking Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay.
I know you're not a biased guy. I defend when people say you're biased. I'm biased when it comes to my Jets. I'm totally open about it. But that was a homer pick, bro. I want you to man up to it right now and say, I'm a Packers fan, and that was a homer pick because I am a believer in my team. It's okay. You know what? Teddy Bruschi does it all the time. Well, Rodney Harrison does it all, and these guys get employed by networks, okay? Everybody in these networks are biased. They stick by their teams. Mike Ditka with his Bears. Everything. Ray Lewis with his Ravens. David Rantisi with his Packers versus the Cardinals. That was a homer pick.
Yeah, that was a homer pick.
I got the Cardinals, man.
That's fine. That's fine. I think the Cardinals are a better football team.
You don't think. We'll find out. They have to prove it again. I don't think it'll be a shellacking that it was the last time they faced each other. But the Packers offense, I know it came alive last week. I'm still not there yet. I'm not on that bandwagon yet. I think there's a problem there right now.
Hypothetically, if Green Bay beats Arizona, regardless of who wins in Carolina or Seattle, between those two, do the Packers become the favorites to win the NFC? Or do you think Carolina would still remain if they were still alive?
I think, the disrespect that Carolina continues to face, it's amazing. Because right now, look, I said Bill Polian thinks, boom, Seahawks are the best team. Now you think the Cardinals are the best team. No one's talking about the Panthers. So, yes, I think the Panthers deserve to be the best team if they go forward. Even right now, they deserve to be, named the best team. They earned that right. Plain and simple. I understand everybody else what they think. The Cardinals have a top 5 offense and defense. So I understand your argument for the Cardinals. Truly do.
And I don't know how Bill Polian can say Seattle is the best team in the NFC. Is it NFC or in the playoffs? NFC.
Period. Playoffs.
Period.
Yep. He's got he had, who did he have? The Patriots? No, the Cardinals number 2 and Panthers number 3.
3 NFC teams. Wow. Well, I like the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have a shot at making a lot of people raise their eyebrows after this weekend. Now, Jeremy Maclin is going to be huge because if Jeremy Maclin can play, Alex Smith has a go-to guy. Who the heck does he have if Jeremy Maclin isn't there? Charkandrick West has stepped in just great ever since Jamal Charles went out. You had Niall Davis getting it done in special teams. I mean, this is going to be going into Foxborough against the New England Patriots, team effort, point blank, all 3 facets of the game. You cannot falter in any way if you want to beat the Patriots, you want to beat Tom Brady, you want to beat Bill Belichick, you want to beat that entire legacy. You're going to have to do everything perfectly in order to go to the AFC Championship game, but it's got to be all hands on deck. I think the Chiefs can do it. I think the Chiefs have it in them to upset the Patriots, but it's going to be tough to see that with one of their best players out right now, and that's Jeremy Maclin. So I know we kind of switched from NFC to AFC pretty quick there, but
it's okay. It's okay.
I think the Chiefs are the hottest team in the playoffs right now.
Speaking about Chiefs, didn't I apologize to the Chiefs about 4 weeks ago?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I had them dead after Jamal Charles was down. I slam Alex Smith all the time. I'm still gonna slam him. Okay, all right. I'm gonna apologize to them again because I doubted them this weekend versus the Texans. Every time I doubt the Chiefs, ever since I doubted them since Jamal Charles has gone down, all they have done is win. That defense, I would say, the last 8 weeks is the best defense in football. Has progressed to the best defense in football since week 7. That secondary has given up 3 touchdowns and has 18 interceptions. 18 interceptions. Their rookie, Marcus Peters, 8 interceptions for the season. These guys are absolute. How many interceptions did they have last weekend versus the Texans? 4, 5, 6 turnovers forced. These guys make plays, man. Big time plays. And it's constant, suffocating. When you feel like you have a chance, boom, turnover. And with the Patriots hurting, Amendola, Gronk, everybody just hurting on their wide receiver core. And you got, Chandler Jones possibly missing the game, or he's got his situation going on with synthetic marijuana issues going on. He went to jail, but he still practiced the next day and such and such. What? But the Chiefs, man. And also, since Jamal Charles went down, while he was healthy, they were averaging 122 yards on the ground, the Chiefs. Since then, they've been averaging 136 yards on the ground. So the production went higher on the ground post Jamal Charles injury. And we're talking about, I know we're not talking about at some point when we talk about coaches of the year or top 5 coaches and stuff like that. Anytime we talk about coaches and top coaches, we don't bring up Andy Reid. I know he's got his, time management issues and stuff like that, but this guy deserves a ton of credit, and it would not shock me. I want the Chiefs to beat the Patriots, and that's why I'm picking the Patriots to win this weekend. I'm going to continue hating on the Chiefs, especially this week. I'm going to go against them this week so they can shut me up and have me apologize again to this movement. The Patriots, what can we say about them? What can we say about them? They suffer. They have the Zeus of all quarterbacks in Tom Brady, but they have health issues on the offensive side of the ball. Offensive line, has been better as of late, but it's still not a stellar squad there. It's just the Patriots usually just don't have these types of issues when it comes to the playoffs. But when you think about a team overcoming issues, it's the Patriots. It's the system. It's the mindset they have. They have this, will the Chiefs be scared? Will they be intimidated facing Bill Belichick, etc.? We'll see about that. I don't think so, but I think it's going to be an interesting game, and I do lean towards the Chiefs in this game, but I'm going with Patriots because I want them to lose.
I tend to play it more conservatively when I pick games. So I'm supposed to say the Patriots here, but I'm taking the Chiefs. I really hope Jeremy Maclin can come back, but I want to see somebody different start dominating this conference. I want to see somebody. I want to see something different. I'm tired of seeing the Patriots. I'm riding the Chiefs bandwagon right now. I'm all in, and lo and behold, they'll probably get blown out 50-0. I don't care. I'm going Chiefs in Foxborough to make people start believing. Make people start believing. A great defense, great running game, okay passing game. Alex Smith doesn't turn the ball over too many times, like I've been saying about Alex Smith this whole time. He fits that offense. He fits that offense, man. You got the defense, you got the run game. Why turn the ball over by throwing it? Getting interception. Forget it. Charkandrick West. I'm going Chiefs. There it is right there.
Can you imagine how scary the Chiefs would be if they had a top 11, top 10 quarterback? Man.
I'd say Alex Smith is at least in the top 15.
I said top 10. Okay, top 15, I guess I will, maybe I'll have him around like 14.
Oh, but 11 or 12. That's the difference between 12 and 14.
It could be.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I said top 10.
Who's at 12? Ryan Tannehill?
No. Ryan Tannehill, man, he might be like 21 right now.
So like who's 12 then? I mean, I don't think it's that much of a difference. Alex Smith, to me, I would rather have a guy who doesn't turn the ball over and not be as of,
He's the worst. Well, he's the second worst quarterback left in this playoffs.
All right, let me think then. Who's the worst quarterback left in the playoffs?
Yeah, I can't believe I said it. But
hold on, Peyton Manning.
Oh, can you believe that? Oh my God, can you believe that? If you had to do a quarterback ranking left in the playoffs,
let's do it right now.
Peyton Manning will be number 6.
8.
Oh, number 8. Yes, number 8. Number 7, Alex Smith. 7. Okay, number 6. Number 6 would be, oh, this is tough. Now this is going to be interesting. This is where, you know who I'm going to go with? Russell Wilson. A matter of fact, wait. Because Big Ben is hurt, I'm going with Big Ben because he's hurt.
No, I'm not going to go with Big Ben.
He's hurt.
I might go with Russell Wilson at 6. At 5, with the way the season is played. Now, this is just rankings right now.
Right now, I'm going with Big Ben.
I almost want to say Aaron Rodgers.
I might.
You know.
So 8, Peyton, Alex 7, Big Ben 6. I might agree with you, Russ. I might go with Aaron Rodgers number 5, maybe.
A-Rod.
I might go with A-Rod number 5 right now, because remember, this is a team thing too. It's not obviously we're just talking about the player.
All right. Well, okay. So Cam Newton's 1. Carson Palmer's 2.
You would go pick Cam? Who would you go with 2?
Carson Palmer.
You would. Oh, so we got Tom Brady out of the top 2. Okay.
Oh yeah, Tom Brady. He's still in.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about that 6th-round pick.
I don't know. I don't know. It's too hard.
It is tough. It's tough. But all I'm saying is, can you believe we got Peyton Manning, the worst quarterback in these playoffs?
I believe it.
It's crazy. Anyway, last matchup.
Steelers.
Pittsburgh versus Denver. I think this is easy for me because Antonio Brown looks likely he won't play because of concussion. Big Ben, people are saying that he may be lying, that he can't throw 30 yards, etc. D'Angelo Williams out. It's too many injuries to overcome versus this defense. And you have the 31st ranked pass defense.
I'll tell you what.
Even though Peyton Manning's not Peyton Manning anymore, he will still do his thing against a 31st ranked defense, right?
If Antonio Brown was playing, and if Ben Roethlisberger was playing, I would pick the Steelers in this game.
But
if they're not playing, this is contingent on whether they play or not, I'm taking the Broncos.
Even if Big Ben is playing and missing Antonio Brown is huge.
Yeah.
The reason why Antonio Brown's got 1,462 and 45 catches this year, because I feel like Big Ben doesn't really trust anybody else besides him and Heath Miller.
Martavius Bryant a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, okay, Martavius Bryant, I forgot he was suspended and such, but I'm talking about every down he is looking for Brown. He trusts Brown. It's just such a connection there.
I'll tell you what, Martavius Bryant had a better catch than Odell Beckham Jr.
And Martavius Bryant, if they do have a chance to win this game, Martavius Bryant's going to have a big game.
Oh, yeah.
Or Heath Miller. Maybe Heath Miller could just come out of nowhere with a 12-catch, 149-yard performance with 2 touchdowns.
I got the Broncos in this one. Unless
I think that defense is too much, man, for this injured offense right now.
Unless they come back and play being Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown. Otherwise, I got to go with Denver. So, Denver, KC, Green Bay, Carolina is who I have. Those are my 4 picks.
The only teams that I guess the only matchup the 2 matchups that we differ is I got the Cardinals winning and I got the quote unquote Patriots winning.
So, I mean, we haven't really taken a lot of comments from you guys this today so far. You guys got a lot of comments.
Michael said, "No more Brady. I just wish he would retire like Peyton Manning." Peyton Manning hasn't even retired yet. He might come back for another year.
Super Hippo 95. Chiefs are looking hot right now. Alfred Del Mundo. Seahawks are going to beat the he said Seahawks are going to beat the Panthers. Seahawks will beat Panthers 23-17. We'll talk about the LA Rams in a minute.
Shout out to Justin Get Cash. Just Instant Cash. I don't know. Super Hippo says, if Pats or Cards win Super Bowl, would you change your MVP vote from Cam to either Brady or Carson Palmer? Absolutely not. Cam's MVP. Easy. At this point now, easy MVP. 45 touchdowns. 45 touchdowns? He got 10 getting Junior 10. He got 10 getting Junior 10 touchdowns.
Did he throw 45?
No, he threw 35 and ran for 10.
Okay. Well, still, 45 is no joke. No, I wouldn't. I don't think Tom Brady. I would stick with Cam Newton, regardless of what happens from here on out. I think Cam Newton deserves the MVP this season.
It's not even close.
Looking at more comments. 18 Lockhart. I honestly don't know how to judge the Chiefs. Long game winning streak, but I'm not impressed by them making it or taking it to Hoyer. Gotta end the doubt this week.
He said he just wants both of them to retire, Peyton Manning and Brady.
We can get into some St. Louis Rams. Now the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, is that official?
It's official. It's in there. They're digging up the dirt right now in L.A.
Are they?
It's official. It's done. You can start trying to get them season tickets.
Let me go to ESPN real quick. So where the heck are they going to play? They're going to play out in the Coliseum?
Yes.
Like the Raiders Coliseum?
Yes, the old Raiders Coliseum.
So where do the Raiders play now?
The Raiders are still at home in Oakland.
The Coliseum. Where the heck is that? Like what city?
I don't know. They're going to play in the old...
Well, ESPN hasn't updated it. They're still the St. Louis Rams here. St. Louis Rams.
If I'm the Rams too, I would change my team name and logo and everything. I would just start off super fresh.
Well, if you're a St. Louis Rams fan, A, you're disappointed. More than disappointed. Disappointed is an understatement.
You're pissed off if you're a Rams fan.
Extremely. I mean, anybody can sit there and think about, well, that's not my team. I don't care. But think about it. I mean, put yourself in those shoes.
Straight up question for the chat and for you, Dave. If they took away your favorite team, they relocated, would you stop watching football?
No. I wouldn't stop watching. I mean, wherever the Packers, if they were to get picked up and shipped off to some other city, I'd still be a Packers fan. I mean, that's not going to change. But
so if if it became the Chicago Packers, you'd be yay Chicago Packers with the big C. Oh yeah, new C hat and everything. New jersey with the C on it and everything. That's what you'll be, a Chicago Packers fan.
That's disgusting.
I'm just wondering. That's what you just said. If
out
they
of all
picked
the cities you could have picked, you picked Chicago.
Chicago's a big city.
Well, I know.
Big market. So, just saying. And let's not act like it's unheard of. When LA's trying to get, Potentially might get 2 teams now.
San Diego being the other. But, like, the amount of money and revenue the St. Louis as a city would see when there was, on big game days and, the businesses that were connected to that, location downtown, I believe it's downtown, the amount of money that was made, now that's going to be lost. Those businesses that strived off of those 8 games, it was a revenue stream that was there every fall, and that's not there anymore.
That's the only. I feel for Rams fans, but I only really feel bad is for the workers and, like you said, the local businesses and etc. The people that are really being affected financially, and people are losing their jobs. Hundreds of jobs are now gone because of this move. Now, hundreds of new jobs will be made in Los Angeles, but in St. Louis will be affected. And that's to me is the suckiest part. The Rams deciding to leave and go to the Los Angeles, and the NFL proving it and things like. How many times have I stressed this to you guys? I stressed this to you, David. It's a business. And business speaking, this was the right move. You just placed your St. Louis team, I don't know, what's their market rank? 17, 18, 19, 20 to number 1 or 2? The second largest market. The value of that franchise might be 1, 2, or 3 5 years from now. 5 years from now, when you look at Forbes coming out with their, valuable teams in the NFL, the Los Angeles Rams will be in your top 3 or 4. It's all about business.
No, yeah. I mean, it's
about the dollar signs. Money, money.
It's not rocket science.
It's just the way it is.
It's not rocket science. It's simple. Everyone knows why. I'm
not
personally. I'm surprised that in past years, when Oakland was there, when St. Louis, not Oakland. I'll say this: when the Raiders were there, or when the Rams were there, actually the Chargers, I believe, began their franchise in LA for a short period of time. But what I'm trying to say is, if this city, if the geographic location was so prosperous for an NFL franchise, then why didn't they stay there to begin with? That's what I never understood, because it is one of the largest populated areas in the country. It never really made sense for me when teams picked up and moved out of LA. I never read up or researched why that happened, and I still don't know why it did, but perhaps it's something to look into, because
I think once again it probably went down to the numbers. At the time, the NFL was a different league. They were generating much lower revenue, and when a new city is trying to attract you, they probably gave them, Oakland, St. Louis, etc., offered these franchises that were probably looking for new stadiums or looking for something. These new cities say, hey, come on down. We'll fund your stadium. We'll give you tax breaks. We'll give you, negotiating. That's what it is. It's another business tactic. So that's what probably happened 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago with all these franchises about wanting a certain thing, and the city was being hesitant or not giving them what they want, and another city stepping up, and that's why they chose to do that. That's just the way it is. Sad.
I've also never really been a big fan of teams sharing stadiums. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that, as a Jets guy who's never had my own football stadium for my team, it sucks. Even right now, we're technically 50-50 partners with the Giants and MetLife. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it. I feel like we're still paying rent, which the Chargers will be doing if they agree to join the Rams in Los Angeles. They'll be paying rent. There'll be tenants there. It feels like that with my Jets still.
Let me see that. I saw something in the comment box.
Well, Black Mamba, he says, we don't support losers. He's a LA guy. Well, don't you support your Lakers? Zing! Zing anything you zing. Zing.
Johnny U is out there on Josh Gordon Island right now.
Johnny U doesn't know what he's talking about. He's on the wrong channel because I've been on the Jameis Winston bandwagon forever. But Johnny U wants to be a troll. He could be a troll. It's okay. They call me an idiot for a reason. I am an idiot. So thank you for calling me my name. Anyway, for the Jets to become the team in New York, he says, Michael says teams have a lot of success in LA. The fan base just won't support them. I think the Rams don't have a terrible team. Obviously, they're not in the playoffs. They're not a powerhouse, but they got some pieces. In a lot of people's minds, they're a quarterback away from really, challenging the Seahawks and the Cardinals for that division.
Well, if the Chargers don't move to LA, where do they play in 2016?
Well, they'll be back in
Qualcomm.
I'm not sure where they're going to play. I think they'll have to stay in San Diego, but they get $100 million from the NFL. And then the Raiders have an opportunity to negotiate with the Rams to join them in their new stadium. If not, they also get $100 million towards a new stadium, which is, to be honest, $100 million is not a whole lot of money for a stadium.
No, not at all. I mean, you gotta sit there and talk about $1 billion or a billion.
Do you know how much the new stadium is going to cost in Los Angeles?
$1.5 billion.
$1.8 billion is projected.
Yeah.
So that's their estimate now, which means by the time it's completed, it's going to be probably, I don't know, $2.1, $2.2 billion. $100 million is chump change in a sense for a stadium.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see, but I think the Rams now moving to LA, it being more official, I don't know what to think. I think, geographically now.
No. Purdy said he has it wrong. He says the Chargers have to wait until January 2017 to choose if they want. No, they have until January 2017 to negotiate with the Rams to join them. They don't have to. Choose then.
Originally, what happened was the Chargers. There was a bid by a handful of owners. I think it was like Kraft, Irsay, and a couple other guys. The original proposal out of the 32 owners was to have a combined Raiders-Chargers stadium.
Yeah, in Carson, California, I believe. And
then it switched to Inglewood when you had guys like Ziggy Wolf,
I heard Jerry
Jerry
Jones.
Jones.
I heard Jerry Jones kept in and really stuck by the Rams and
Yeah,
influenced a lot of owners
a
for the
couple
Rams.
of those flashier owners kind of stepped in as a group, and then they kind of controlled the room afterwards. After that first original proposal, like, well, Rams and Inglewood as the LA Rams, and I think it was more of a consensus. I think the first vote was 20 votes to 12. So I think they eventually, in order for it to pass, it had to have been 24 votes. So I think they got it.
Yeah. Petrie just wrote in the chat box, the owners voted 30 in favor, 2 denied for the Rams going to LA. I can guess those 2 right now.
Yeah.
It was the Chargers that said no and the Raiders that said no. I would imagine, right? It was the Chargers and Raiders that said, nah, I don't like it. So by those standards, everybody was in agreement besides those 2 that was in competition to get LA. I heard Jerry Jones had a huge influence. Huge influence. And as soon as David comes right back from getting some water, we'll get into the head coaching hiring. As we know, Hugh Jackson was hired by the Browns, and the Giants, about an hour ago, hired their offensive coordinator, Ben McAdoo, and we'll dive into those and I guess the remaining jobs, head coaching vacancies in the NFL. So, David, as you know, Hugh Jackson, offensive coordinator for the Bengals, actually accepted to become the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. In my estimation, wow, I don't know what word that was. I think that's shocking, right? I think that was a huge surprise that the Browns actually picked up one of the hot assistants in the league.
I think it was one of the better moves that the Browns have made in the last couple of years. Hugh Jackson, I think one of the best coaches that you could have went out and grabbed. They got him. Right away he was asked, what are you going to do with Johnny Manziel? We're dumping him. And he asked, ownership throughout the negotiations of him being hired as the head coach, is it okay if I can get rid of Johnny Manziel? And they said, yes, we can part ways with Johnny. But the problem I have with that is he shouldn't have came out and said it, because it makes it look like there's a good probability they're going to cut him. Which means if there's any other team that's interested, they'll just wait until that happens and they'll start talking to Johnny Manziel. But I think if you didn't say anything about it, see if you can get a draft pick out of a team. You get a draft pick. But right now, Johnny Manziel doesn't look like he's going to be a Cleveland Brown for this next season. But as for Hugh Jackson being hired, I like the move. I think any team who picked up Hugh Jackson, whether it was going to be the Giants, the Niners, or the Browns, that team was going to get better. And I think him getting let go in Oakland after an 8-8 season was not fair. I think a lot of people felt that way as well. So here's his second chance. And I think the Browns are now a better football team than they were yesterday.
I know it's very early into the offseason, but I think Browns fans should be excited because I know a lot of people made and were gasted like, why did they hire a baseball guy, analytics and this and that, and seem confused? Let's give the Browns some credit for thinking outside the box and, trying to, lead the forefront for analytics in the NFL. I don't think it should be the be-all, end-all in the NFL, but I think it has a significant part to play in the role in the front office going forward in the NFL. So I think that the Browns deserve a lot of credit on that front. And like I said, it's shocking to me they picked up one of the hottest names this offseason as their head coach. The Browns. Well, if we did a ranking of the best available jobs this offseason the Browns will probably be number 5, 6 out of the 8 that was available. Am I right or wrong, David?
Yeah.
Okay. And they picked up one of the hottest names. By all accounts, so far, the Browns are having a winning offseason, doing the right things, new approach, thinking outside the box, picking up a hot name, giving him some power and let him have control. And already I'm hearing he doesn't want Johnny around. He wants a fresh start. That second overall pick wants to be a new QB. So you're going to have a new regime, new face of the franchise at the quarterback position, most likely heading into the new year. Browns fans should be very excited today.
Turn down for what says, I wonder who the Browns will draft. Probably will be Goff. Now, oh boy. I watched Jared Goff's tape 2 nights ago, and everyone has Jared Goff as a top 5 pick. I didn't see a top 5 pick. I didn't see a top 10 pick. I didn't see a top 20 pick. I didn't see first-round talent with Jared Goff. Oh, well, all the analysts are saying he's a top 5 pick. You're an idiot. All right, that's fine. Well, everybody said DeMontre Moore was going to be a top 5 pick, and he went in the 3rd round. Everyone said Bjorn Werner was going to be a top 5 pick, and he went in the 20s. Everyone said Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a top 5 pick, and he went 31st overall. It's way too early in the draft evaluation process for Jared Goff to be placed at number 2. And you're going to hear it here first. I don't think he goes number 2. I don't even think he's a first-round talent. The guy cannot throw a deep ball. He cannot place a deep ball. A lot of 5, 10-yard passes max. I didn't see it. I didn't see what the whole hype was about. I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I just have to get that out there.
I see some possibilities. Michael said, if I was the Browns, I'll pick a tackle, then trade Joe Thomas for picks.
Can't trade Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is probably the most durable player in NFL history. The guy has never missed a snap. Can't trade him. If you want to bring a young quarterback in, you're going to need somebody to protect his blind side, and that's got to be Joe Thomas. Trade anybody but Joe Thomas.
Well, probably the best available job at the head coaching position was the Giants, and they fill it with their offensive coordinator, Ben McAdoo. What do you think about that?
I like the move that they went in-house, even though Ben McAdoo has been with the team for a season or 2 seasons.
2 years, yeah.
That's fine. If they were comfortable enough with Ben McAdoo, they liked what they saw. They've seen him grow as a coach in the last couple of years with their team, with their players. The relationships there have gotten stronger in the 2 years that he's been there with those players. And yeah, the chemistry's still there. Sometimes, again, we've hit on chemistry before. Chemistry is huge. Being on the same page, being on the same wavelength, rather than getting a Hugh Jackson, staying in-house, knowing how everything already operates. Ben McAdoo can step in and not really have to learn anything. He's already there. He already knows. So, going in-house sometimes is the better option, and perhaps that's what the Giants believed, and that's why Ben McAdoo is now the head coach of the New York Giants.
And it has a lot to do with your 34-year-old quarterback.
Is he already 34?
34-year-old quarterback who's won you 2 Super Bowls, doesn't have to learn a new system, and has already had one of his best years under this man. Like you said, you don't have to worry about chemistry. You have a young superstar and Beckham that developed under this offense, which fits very nice for his talents. He learned under Tom Coughlin, who I think should have never been fired in the first place, but in-house, I think a lot of Giants fans should be very happy and are happy, and I think this makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. Ben McAdoo, is he ready to be a head coach? Yeah, I don't know. We don't know that. But I think it makes a lot of sense, and so many avenues, so many factors. I think it was his job to lose from the jump. I heard Hugh Jackson was supposed to interview for the Giants job. He turned it down to accept the Browns. I think the Giants said, hey, I guess that was the last roadblock for McAdoo, right? Hey, let's see what Hugh Jackson's got to say. Unless he blew them out the water, it was clear cut. This was McAdoo's job, and I like the move.
I think Mike Shanahan now gets a look somewhere. I think San Francisco is a possibility for Mike Shanahan.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly's a possibility for a team. Has Tennessee found anyone yet?
Nope, they haven't.
I think the only possibility for Chip right now is Tennessee.
I'm hearing about. Well, I think this is just the media stirring stuff up. That the Browns, should they hire Nick Saban? I mean the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers should hire Nick Saban. So I'm not sure if he's really a candidate out there, or if he really wants to be back in the NFL. But Chip Kelly, Tom Coughlin, who's the other guy you just mentioned? Mike Shanahan. There's a lot of guys out there. Doug Marrone.
Philadelphia is looking at Doug Peterson, the Chiefs' offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Who was Brett Favre's longtime backup in Green Bay.
What does he have some roots with Philadelphia?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, because he was with Andy Reid, right?
Yes, in Green Bay, I thought.
No, what I'm saying is Andy Reid, when he was with the Eagles, was Peterson also there?
I don't think so. I think Peterson got hired after Reid got to Kansas City.
Okay.
But Peterson, I think, does somehow still have roots to Philadelphia.
Well, even if, in a sense, by 6 degree separation, Andy Reid, who I think he's very respected still by ownership in Philadelphia, I think Andy Reid, has some power and some pull to call, Jeff Leary and say, hey, this guy's good. This guy's good. Do you have a feel that Andy Reid has some type of,
Yeah, of course.
So I can see that. And the Chiefs are having, look when you have a season like they are having, the streak they're having, that's going to open some lanes for your assistants, and there's going to be some eyeballs on you from the league. Because you had key players, you had your best offensive weapon go down, and you just went on a 9-10 game winning streak. It just doesn't happen too often in the NFL. It just shows by the coaching staff that they adapted, they adjusted, and they're winning games.
Turn down for what? Dave, have you seen any tape on quarterback Carson Wentz? I have not. I'm still early in the process. I've only watched 6 players so far. So I'm still developing a big board here. Someone said that the Titans are still looking for a GM.
GMs, yes. Petrie said Josh McDaniels and Jim Schwartz are said to be high interest in the Titans job. Josh McDaniels, I actually predicted him possibly going to the Browns because, he's still in the playoffs, and I thought the Browns were not going to be able to pick up one of the big names out there. They proved that wrong, and I said maybe they'll wait it out for a hot coordinator like a Josh McDaniels, but who will be limited in interviews because success of the season. Now the Titans, maybe they'll wait for him. Why not? If you're the Titans or one of these organizations, you should be patient and pick the best available guy or the guy you think could be the man to change your program around. So, got to be patient.
Um, my mind went on a tangent real quick because I forgot to mention in this 3-week hiatus that I was in for Christmas and New Year's and me being sick. I applied for a job with the Cincinnati Bengals. And I forgot to mention to you guys this. Ezra, I didn't actually tell you about this. I applied for a position with the Bengals, with the Cincinnati Bengals, and they called me the next day, and we had an interview over the phone. And the guy said, we'll give you another call back in about 2 weeks. We'll do a second round of interviews. Never called me, so I don't know what happened. I called him back, left a message, didn't say nothing, but looks like I'm not going to be joining the Bengals.
Are we allowed to ask at what capacity?
Sales consultant.
Oh, sales consultant. Okay.
Yes, sales consultant. Just tried to get my foot in the door. I did it more just to see what would happen. They called me the next day, so I was kind of surprised.
Was it one of the questions? How would you sell 0-7 in a playoff team to our ticket holders?
No, that wasn't a question.
Oh, okay.
This is very basic kind of. I don't know if I answered something wrong or if they knew I was from Wisconsin. Nah, we don't really want to pay for this guy to come over here. I don't know what it was. I contacted one of my professors from college and I told him about it, and he said that he's heard that the Bengals tend to be what's the word he used? Not frugal, but they're careful with how they spend their money or whatever. They don't really just toss money at people. Here's a job, type of thing. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. I got contacted by an NFL team for a job. That's pretty sweet. I did it to see what happened, and it happened. But
why don't you just apply for the NFL? That's it.
Where? I don't know. I don't know what jobs they got going on. Now, there's a job the Redskins have right now that's calling my name, but I can't just pick up and move halfway across the country because I feel like I get it. Why
not, huh?
I got family here. My girlfriend.
Oh, family's still going to be there. You go there, they come visit, and you go back.
I know.
You can do it. I'll leave my family like that. I'll see you later.
I know, but, it's...
California, call me tomorrow. No hesitation. The numbers is looking right. See you later. I'll be just like the Rams. See ya.
That's the thing. It depends on the money. Depends on whether it's commission or not. Depends on what the job is.
I'll be like, Mom, you dropped something on the floor. She looked down. Boom, I'm gone. Right out the door.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of ticket sales and marketing stuff open
the
right
NFL.
now.
I don't know if working for the NFL. Now, I'm not talking about the teams, their franchises. I'm talking about the NFL. I don't know if it's all cracked up to be, because I have a friend who actually works in the NFL and he does the fines. He sends out the fines to players, coaches.
No, are you serious?
I'm serious.
Does he ever tell you about
he does?
I just did James Harrison's fine. I'm mailing it to him right now.
He's not. He's the way he talks about it. It's not very glamorous. I don't hear too many perks. Some perks is sometimes he has to go to some games, right? He has to go. He travels sometimes. He has to go to games and make sure there's certain things on the field that's up to league standards. So he'll have a pass, NFL, league employee, and he's making sure everything, or he might have to find somebody out there in them streets.
So
the NFL streets.
Does he get paid well?
I've never, it doesn't seem like it, to be honest. It's not like I see him driving Lamborghinis or anything like that. I know what that means. I know. But it doesn't seem very glamorous.
It's not, because when people don't understand, I got a job in the NFL or I got a job with this team or that team, it's that's cool. It's a title. But when you actually do the job,
besides coaches, players, and front office,
everything back end stuff, it's not what it's all cracked up to be.
You ain't getting much.
I interned with ESPN Milwaukee. You hear ESPN, you're like, oh my goodness, ESPN. It's not what it's cracked up to be. That's not why I'm there now. I mean, I interned with them for two semesters. I saw how it was. And I knew they weren't going to pay. Now I'm working as a mutual fund specialist.
So, which we got to talk about. We got to talk about these stocks one day, Dave. I got to give you a phone call. What's up with these mutual funds, kid? I need to put, which one should I put into? Which dollars? Need that money to stack up. Need that. You guys out there, I know a lot of you are young, okay? Please, I'm telling you, look into stocks, look into investing. You want your dollar bills to stack up. You don't want to be, these athletes 5 years after football, they're broke. Let your money make you money. That's all.
Jam X says, "Yo, I'm late." Well, what did I miss? Everything.
The Titans take luxury in Bosa or take Tusil?
No, Tunsil. He's his offensive lineman out of Ole Miss. Bosa's good, but I don't know if he's first overall pick good. I'm always that guy. It's like you got to be real special. I'll tell you what. I watched 6 guys.
I would trade down from the Titans.
I would too. That's exactly what I would do. I watched 6 guys. You guys want to know who the number 1 player so far that I absolutely loved out of the 6? I'll tell you what. Here's the list of names. I watched Bosa. I watched Paxton Lynch, Jared Goff, Laquan Treadwell, Vernon Hargraves III, and Corey Coleman. Somebody in the comment box, please tell me who my favorite player out of those 6 were.
Well, we got something important in the chat. Jake says, if I win the Powerball, I got both of you a couple of mil. I don't need a couple million. I don't. I really don't. All I need is a down payment for a house. But if you want to give me $1 million, I would rename my channel, my Twitter after you and your kids. Plain and simple. Matter of fact, I'll change my middle name, my middle and last name to your name. It'll be Ezra Jake.
I got the tickets right here. Winning tickets right here, baby. I can't show you these tickets because if it's an actual winning ticket, someone's gonna kidnap my whole family and hold them ransom.
Jake, I would name myself after you. I would name my kid after you. You give me
all right, look. Hold on now. In the comments,
is it Coleman?
Jake says Coleman.
You got 3 Colemans.
Jake says Coleman. Turned down says Coleman. It was Coleman, man. I'm telling you what. I have a thing for wide receivers. All right. 3 years ago, Keenan Allen. I knew he was the best receiver out of that draft class. 2 years ago, it was between Odell Beckham and I think Sammy Watkins. Last year, I liked Dorial Green Beckham. Okay. But so far, I have a feeling it's going to be Coleman all the way. Fantastic player, man. I love what I saw. Very dynamic. Stretches the field, lines up on the outside, can do a little bit on the inside. 5'11", 190. Liked him more than Treadwell.
You said 5'11"?
5'11", 190.
5'11"?
5'11".
Okay, I haven't watched anything on Coleman. 5'11", first overall pick.
Huh?
5'11", first overall pick?
Listen, I'm not saying he's a first overall pick. I'm saying out of the 6 players I've watched, he's my favorite.
Okay, I'm just wondering. Just wondering here.
Go watch him.
That's a tough sell. To be honest, that's a tough. If let's say Titans get, yeah, you know what? Coleman's a beast, so we like him a lot. First overall pick, 5'11" wide receiver.
He's not a good blocker. Jake, if you want a blocker, Treadwell's your guy. Coleman is not a blocker. Doesn't block, doesn't care to block, stands there. That's his con. That's his negative. But as an overall receiver, route running, stretching the field, another knock. Sometimes I noticed that he caught the ball a little bit more with his body on certain catches. But I really like Coleman. So far that's my guy. But there's no way in the world that he'll be first overall pick. I'm just saying that's my guy so far.
I just wonder because that sounds insane. 5'11" wide receiver, your first overall pick.
Right.
There's very few, superstar 5'11" wide receivers.
He reminded me a little of a Randall Cobb. My buddy who's watching with me said he reminded him a little of Deshaun Jackson. So, you know,
I was gonna say, Steve Smith is probably the greatest. Is he probably the greatest under 6 foot wide receiver of all time? Well, you know what? I can't believe I just said that. But anyway, not that the question is because I know how great Steve Smith is. It's just he was one of probably the most dominating under 6 foot receiver that I can remember. Matter of fact, look, I just Googled his name. Look at these names that come up. This is easily Steve Smith gives us his top 5 NFL wide receivers under 6 feet tall. He's got Santana Moss. He's got Wes Welker.
Of all time or current receivers?
No, his top 5
of all time.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
He got Wes Welker, Santana Moss, Deion Branch, Henry Leonard. He's from Los Angeles, and he played for the Los Angeles Rams. And my guy, Wayne Corbett.
Dude, Randall Cobb is 5'11". Greg Jennings is 5'11". Greg Jennings stayed in Green Bay. Who knows? I'm gonna have to maybe do a Red Zone Blitz like a draft edition of the Red Zone Blitz, or maybe do it every once in a while before the draft. Talk to you guys about the draft and what I've seen. Hopefully, I can watch more tape.
Petrie said some team will trade up for number 1 for a QB, and especially with the Browns number 2, that's a strong possibility.
I don't see it. I don't see it. Paxton.
It takes one team to fall in love.
I know, man, but Paxton Lynch, he's got the size, he's got the mobility, he can run a little bit, he's got the arm strength, but I just don't know if I see him as a number 1 overall pick. Between him and Goff, I like Paxton Lynch more, but I just don't know if I can see either one going first overall. Definitely not Goff. I think Goff trickles down. I think Goff right now, I don't know why everyone's in love with him. I think he falls.
Is there any dark horse QB to rise up the ranks out of nowhere?
I don't know. I'd have to watch the tape. I can't answer that question right now.
I'm gonna need some of these tips for my dynasty rookie draft.
Says that tall QBs don't work out either, but how can you say that when you got Joe Flacco, who's a Super Bowl winner, or Matt Ryan, who in my opinion
maybe he meant work. Maybe he meant like combine workout. He meant that.
No. Tall QBs don't work out either.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to defend Michael here.
Jake,
isn't Tom Brady a tall wide receiver? I mean, tall QB. Isn't he like 6?
You know who's a tall QB? Is Peyton Manning.
Yeah, he's 6'5". Yeah, well, Peyton Manning's the proto. You know, he is the prototype. But isn't Tom Brady like 6'3"?
I don't know.
He's 6'4".
Jake Kubik says, watch Jalen Ramsey.
Isn't Cam Newton like 6'5"? 6'5", Cam Newton. He's a monster.
He can still do the thing. And Ben Roethlisberger's a bigger QB too. The thing is,
he's talking about like freakishly tall. Well, not freakishly.
Right,
Let me not use that.
Paxton Lynch is 6'7". I mean, an inch. It's an inch. I don't know. I'm going to watch Jalen Ramsey next. That's my next prospect. I'm gonna watch. Carson Wentz, I have not watched. I do know he is out of North Dakota State though, so I will keep in mind. We got 5 minutes on the Red Zone Blitz. Probably time to break down the MVPs of tonight's show. I mean, Petrie's been here all night. Andre Rios, I think, just showed up. Michael Bolden's been here, I believe, throughout the show. 18 Lockhart's been here throughout the show. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting MVP to give out tonight.
I already got mine, kid.
Go ahead.
Street. I got Petrie, MVP, questions, statements. What is Michael's? He came strong tonight. He was strong.
Yeah, Michael Bolden, yeah. I'm going to give
18 Lockhart is he's rusty. 18 Lockhart is rusty. What happened in 2016? He's taking it easy?
I don't know. I remember when 18 Lockhart was winning every MVP back in the day. I'm going to give it to Michael Bolden. Got a couple minutes. I don't know if there's anything really, left we want to discuss. A lot of draft talk going on now down there. Connor Cook. We're talking Lynch, Cook, Wentz. Nobody's talking about Goff, thank God. We'll have to get a show going. We can wrap it up. Hey, Powerball, half an hour. Numbers get called out. So if you guys win it all,
good luck, Jake.
Yeah, if you guys win it all. I'm
Besides myself, good luck, Jake.
Come on, man. He said he'll give us a couple mil each.
That's what I just said. Good luck, Jake.
Good luck, Jake.
It's the benefit to everyone here at the Red Zone Blitz. I tell you, our equipment will get a lot better.
Yeah, you give us some money. I'll tell you what. I don't need $1 million. I just need some money for a new setup, computer, something faster. Maybe a couple $1,000. Get my setup better.
And speaking about setup,
looking a lot better. I won't be lagging, choppy, nothing.
For those who were there this past last week for on Idiot Sports Talk about the call feature, about calling into the show, I'm going to try to work on the setup right now and try to have it working for the Red Zone Blitz next Wednesday. And I'm also working on, a new sports show on Idiot Sports Talk called My Sports Show, meaning you guys will be able to call in throughout the whole show and we talk about whatever the hell you want in the sports world. But next week, I'm going to try to have the call feature here on the Red Zone Blitz because I think that will be amazing. And I think you guys will want that. Me and David want that bad. So I'm going to work on that because I have the equipment for it. I just hope, I can get this done for you guys. And let us know in the chat box if you want this feature here on the Red Zone Blitz for you guys to have the ability to call us and talk football, not to troll. Maybe you could talk about David's hair a little bit, but to talk about football. Would you like that? Let us know.
You guys call in and talk to us. You'd be like, hello.
Hello,
yeah, this is the Red Zone Blitz.
Hello, David. Which Head and Shoulders brand did you use? The Shine. I like the Shine.
Yeah, this is the Red Zone Blitz. Football questions here only. But we're going to head out on the Red Zone Blitz. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. Next week, we'll be talking about the last 4 teams remaining.
Ezra, he said he's going to talk about my ears, man. My ears.
Or someone's, your ears.
He says someone.
Panthers, Cardinals, Seahawks, Patriots.
The Jets.
No, not the Jets. And the Broncos. Final 8 teams. Who's going to be the final 4 next week?
The Jets will be there.
Yeah, maybe in the stands watching, just like, oh, man, I wish we was out there right now.
I'll tell you one thing, as a Jets fan, I'm really worried about this offseason, man. I think this is going to be much tougher than last year, man.
You just got to get another mean, SOB on your team to knock out your starting quarterback and bring in the backup so he can start winning some games.
The real MVP, right?
Yeah. IK. What is his name? IK and what was his name? Impali and
IK. I don't know. It was just IK. This just sounds like a gangster,
Just,
IK in the building.
That's short for I know that I just knocked Gino out. I know I just knocked
No, I knocked out. That's what IK said. I knocked out. I knocked Geno Smith. Anyway.
Whatever. We will catch you guys hopefully next week on the Red Zone Blitz. Stay tuned. Petrie wants to know, when is Ezra's next Twitch?
Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I think. Most likely. Just watch out on Twitter. You'll find out. Idiot Ezra. Twitter. You'll find out.
Oh, there you have it. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody who tuned in tonight. Catch us next week, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time on the Red Zone Blitz. We're
Later,
out.
guys.
Still stopping.
It says live. It says live. It's